Right. So we're here today to talk about med beds, med bed technology, what are med beds, and get a little bit of information about updates of where they're at, when they're coming, what they actually are, the history of med beds. And I'm just going to go through a bunch of information that I've gathered over the last few years from a relatively large number of sources on med beds, the subject of med beds, and basically where they're at, what they're doing, how they work, and all these different things. So, for anybody that's out there that hasn't heard the term med bed or med beds, technically, because I'm in the medical equipment industry, med beds could be theoretically set up as hospital beds, medical beds. We do sell those medical beds. Thing that's actually very ironic is that I sell pulmonary wound care. I'm one of the few people in the United States that if somebody's really messed up and needs long-term home care, ICU care at home, that we sell that type of technology for home, actual hospital beds, med beds, uh, pulmonary, what have you. And it's actually that's gotten me into this whole med bed subject, being in the medical equipment industry for the last 15 years and specialized in wound care and specialized in all different types of hospital equipment, basically setting up entire hospitals, setting up hospitals overseas, probably have built, not physically doing the construction, but equipped well over 15 to 20 hospitals in Africa, Mexico, Latin America, all over the world. So the whole subject of med beds and what they are actually came because in the medical equipment industry, dealing with people every day with ALS, MS, quadriplegic, paraplegic, stroke, MS, all the reasons that people are really messed up, that they need really high-end home care, kind of led me down this whole path of what is a med bed, where do they come from, how do they work, and so about 4 years ago, I launched basically a whole nother set of technology that's wellness technology, which is energy and frequency based technology, which also has just a massive scope of things that it includes. But it all stemmed from these med beds and what are med beds. And that whole thing really intrigued me. And I started hearing that there's med beds. And, so I'm going to list the sources down below in the description area. So for people that are out there that want more information on where I'm getting this information, who I'm getting the information from, I cultivate information from a very wide number of sources and through various contacts that I've developed. And you'll see that there's always a common denominator that kind of gets into this whole thing. So, technically, what is a med bed? A med bed, if you're hearing it in the terms of sort of a healing device, is a basically it's something like this. This is a pod that we've got, but it's basically a chamber or a pod that somebody can go into that within a very relative short period of time will actually heal them or rid them of all ailments that they've got. And in the subject of med beds and what types of med beds there are beds that can technically, do just about everything with heal and cure. There's med beds that are good for regeneration, which are referred to, and from what I've been told, are holographic, where they can take a blueprint of your DNA and figure out how to replace the missing limb, the missing arm. There is sort of a cryogenic chamber that does a age reversal type of a med bed. And we'll get into some of those different types of med beds as we go. But uh, the whole thing with these med beds and are they real? In my personal opinion, and everything I'm going to say here is based on my own research, my own summarizing of all the information that I've gathered, is that the actual med beds are very real. And they do, in fact, exist, and they are out there. Now, are they out there to the general public? No, I don't believe they're not available at this point. However, we'll get into this more. There's a lot of really powerful technology out there right now that is available. And so, what I've come to figure out is that even though the real med beds that are the free government med beds or the free med beds, even though they're not technically here yet, there's a lot of energy and frequency based technology that is available right now that people can start using that is very beneficial for dealing with a lot of health and wellness issues, but also very good for enhancing your life, giving you more energy, strength, keeping you healthier for longer periods of time and giving you a higher quality of life. So that is probably the most important thing is that even though the real med beds or the government med beds are not here yet, there is technology out here. We'll talk about that later as well. So the med beds, technically, if you look at, where they're coming from, and how they're being put together, really gets to what we would call off-planet technology. I would just say it's extraterrestrial technology. The whole subject of extraterrestrials and alien and that whole thing is really at the forefront right now. It's starting to get a lot more information out. You're going to see that there's a lot of information that's slowly kind of being released to the public to sort of prepare people for that reality. As somebody in my 50s, I wasn't around so much with Orson Welles, but when they released War of the Worlds and that whole concept came out of other, extraterrestrial races, it pretty much freaked out the general public. So it's not really part of what we've been brought up with. We've been kind of put in a box to say this is your reality and this is what it is. But if you really get into this and you start getting into some of the channels and some of the sources that I'm going to put down in the description, you're going to find that there's a lot of information on that subject. So uh, basically, the medbed technology comes from off-planet technology. A lot of these other civilizations are hundreds of thousands, if not a million or more years advanced than the Earth is. So there's a lot of very powerful technology that's out there. And so this technology is sort of making its way to the planet. And so it's the situation that the planet is in right now that's really determining when these med beds will be released, right? So one of the things I also tell people is that free energy was also figured out probably 100 years ago with Nikola Tesla, other great minds that worked on that. There's been a lot said that there's generators now the size of a suitcase that can power a whole city. But you're not seeing free energy right now either. And so that kind of gets into the whole status of where the planet is at right now and sort of the powers that be and the way that the economy and everything's set up. It's really set up to not really bring this technology forward because it really could collapse a lot of things within our society. And I think anybody that's out there knows that there's a lot of change that needs to happen. There's a lot of things going on within the surface of the planet right now that are somewhat chaotic, is probably one way of putting it. And also, it can be very purifying in a way because sometimes you have to kind of go through the bad to get to the good. And there's there's just a lot of things in the fray right now. But I think that with the overall consensus of where we're at, where we're going, I think it's pretty clear that the human civilization on the planet Earth is going through sort of an awakening, an awakening more to a spiritual reality and kind of raising their consciousness, if you will. And as human beings, we are super powerful from a consciousness standpoint and from the abilities that we've been given, which we're also going to talk about. So, med beds, are they real? Absolutely. In my opinion, they're 100% real. There's people that have had access that have used those med beds that I've been in contact with. And a lot of these people also have information that's out there that I'm also putting down at the bottom, which are YouTube channels. And they've interviewed hundreds, if not thousands, of people that all collaborate these. And these are all from various different sources. So, that's the information that I've collected and I've gathered that absolutely they're there. Um, in the condition that the Earth is in right now, especially with everything that's going on, we're not ready for that technology to come in. There's just so many things. Free energy is definitely something that we could use, but that's not here, and that's been around 100 years. So it will be here. When it's going to be here, that's probably up for a debate discussion, but it's also up to how events unfold on the planet Earth and how we sort of take control of our own destiny to make the environment a little bit more conducive to bringing out medbed technology. So we'll just start off with that as sort of an introduction to where it's at. Is it there? Yes, and in fact, is there. Now, if you get into the different types of technology, medbed type technology. One of the technologies that's out there is a dual tube plasma based technology. A brilliant scientist, physicist, Mr. Dan Winter, who I absolutely love this guy. He's amazing and very knowledgeable on the physics of technically what are med beds, how they work, what they do. Um, and he created a dual tube plasma energy system with the assistance of some others. Um, that basically creates a mindful and intelligent energy field. It sends all a wide spectrum of some of the most beneficial frequencies into the body. It's using plasma energy, and plasma energy is technically what your soul is composed of. And as this plasma energy field becomes recursive, it becomes a mindful and intelligent energy field. So, intention and other parts of it actually become very relevant when you're using these types of energy fields. And the goal of all this technology ultimately is to produce a higher state of consciousness. Now, when people hear med beds, the first thing they're thinking is, I'm messed up. I've gotten some diagnosis of some kind that's physical. I need help. I need a med bed. And I totally get that. And like I said, I deal every day with people that are really in serious shape. And I guess for me is if the real med beds aren't here and I don't know when they're coming, and I deal with people on a daily basis that are really in serious health issues, what is available right now, right? So that's kind of where we're going to kind of move this into. What technology is available now that people can use? It's also very powerful, very beneficial. And from a physics standpoint, from an actual science perspective, can show tangible instrumentation of exactly how it works, what it does, why it does what it does, without having to get into hyperbole or anything that's just up for opinion-based reality, which we really don't want to get into at all because it's not relevant. So when it comes to the ancient structures of the planet, which would be the pyramids, you get into the history of Sumeria, Anunnaki. There's a group of what we would call builder races that came. The pyramids were built primarily for a few different reasons. Number one, to stabilize the Earth's atmosphere. There was a lot of stuff going on outside the Earth, and the Earth became unstable. And so the pyramids, the way they were set up, being on all the different ley lines, were there really initially to stabilize the Earth's atmosphere. But they were also the first free energy source. They actually were energy generators, if you will. And so pyramids had those functions. But one of the things the pyramids also did is they actually became very powerful centers for rejuvenating the body. And if anybody gets a chance, Dan Winter's channel is going to be included down below. I'm going to give information from Dan Winter, Elena Denon, Michael Salla, James Rink, Corey Good. These are all people that are very tuned into this from a level of physics perspective, interaction, firsthand accounts, information. And so it's a culmination of all these different people that are all completely separated in their own channels and what they do, but all basically bring out a lot of the same information. And many times it comes from a different set of knowledge base or experiences, what have you. So it's a culmination of all those. But the Bosnian pyramid is one of the only pyramids that's actually open to the general public. And there's a gentleman named Sam that runs the Bosnian pyramid, and they have started opening up and going through the bottom of the pyramid itself. Now, the Bosnian pyramid is reported to be even bigger than the pyramid of Giza in Egypt. So it's a very large pyramid. And in the course of them spending time in the chambers of this pyramid, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of somewhat miraculous stories of people experiencing incredible health benefits. And that is all documented. That's all information. But that's from the effect of the way that the energy and frequency and the physics of the way that the pyramids are designed, right? So if you go back, and we start getting into some of the history of the planet, there's a lot of stuff right now actually with these pyramids and uh, Chichen Itza and just all kinds of places in the earth where technology that they had thousands of years ago, we still can't move a 200-ton stone, or we still can't do the carvings and some of the things that they were doing literally thousands of years ago. So it's quite evident that they had very high skills and that there was a lot more going on than sticks and stones and that whole thing. So with that being said, pyramids became very powerful uh, uh, instruments for maintaining Earth's atmosphere, for um, stabilizing the Earth, the free power, and then also rejuvenation. And what was happening with some of these builder races is that when they came into the Earth's atmosphere, they their body was they were deteriorating at a faster rate. It wasn't conducive to the atmosphere that they had come from. And so one of the things that you'll find in hieroglyphics that's back from Egypt are dual tube energy systems inscribed in hieroglyphics. And Dan has created dual tube energy technology, which is rejuvenating technology for the body. And this is probably some of the most powerful technology that's out there to the general public right now. You also have a woman, Dr. Sandra Rose Michael, who's created an EE system. EE systems are also very powerful. They're basically creating scalar energy fields, and in those scalar energy fields, the body's able to rejuvenate. And so, um, in the world that we're living in right now, there's a lot of things that are sort of deteriorating the body faster. Food supply is definitely compromised, water, air, different things. The amount of oxygen in our atmosphere has gone way down from where it was thousands of years ago from all various types of reasons. But it's a culmination of that, electrical energy, Wi-Fi, all these different things are sort of breaking the body down a little bit faster than it naturally would if we were living a little bit more healthier life and kind of back to things without a lot of the processed foods, contaminants, and what have you. So with that, with all that being said, when you've got the access to these technologies, they can help rejuvenate the body. There's different things, obviously, for detox, but the dual tube plasma energy systems and the EE system, creating these scalar energy fields, helps the body rejuvenate, sort of gives it the energy that it needs to recharge, and gives the cells the information that they need to kind of do their thing. And one thing to make clear is that it's technically the body that's doing the work. The technology sending information to the cells, it's sending all the energy into the cells, but it's technically the body that's doing the work. So that's really an important thing to talk about. So as far as technology, that's available now, dual tube plasma energy systems. Now, when we get into more of the 20th, 21st century, we'd have to probably go back to a gentleman, Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla was a gentleman who obviously is very well known, but he made huge strides when it came to the development of technologies that were very good from the body. And it was his original work then that was picked up by people like Georges Lakhovsky and Royal Raymond Rife, who also was just an incredibly brilliant person. I think that when you get into medbed technologies that are available now that we've got access to, which I said many times are very powerful and very beneficial for different types of things with rejuvenating the body, that these are real pioneers that have been at the forefront of technology that's available now that people have been able to build from to create. And so some of the technologies that I would recommend for anybody that, is looking to set up a wellness center, or people that are out there that are saying, hey, I want to go, find a place that I can, get access to some of this technology. Like I said, I'm going to have the links down at the bottom, but you would look at the Therify, the EE system. Now with Tesla technology that's affordable for home, and that would be Tesla slash other scientist, Georges Lakhovsky. would be the multi-wave oscillator. And the multi-wave oscillator basically was these dual rings that sit on either side of the person, and each one of the rings is a healing technology or a healing frequency. And those 12 rings basically send energy into the body, some of the more beneficial frequencies for the body, in addition to sending electrical energy into the body. So, one of the things about the body is that we are electrical creatures. Everything runs on electrical energy. And when you're young, your batteries are full of energy and you're running at full steam. But as you get older, your body does not have the same amount of electrical energy in it. And so one of the goals of the multi-wave oscillator was to restore and put electrical energy back in the body, recharge the cells, send the beneficial frequencies into the body. And the word oscillate, which technically could also be vibrate, what the early scientists found was that healthy cells vibrate at a high frequency. They vibrate like 15,000 vibrations per second. Unhealthy cells vibrate at a very low oscillation rate. And so restoring cells to their maximum potential, meaning get them to vibrate at their highest potential, is what the goal is for the multi-wave oscillators. So when they saw unhealthy cells and the vibrational rates were going down, the multi-wave oscillator was there to restore the oscillation rate. And as the oscillation rates of the cells were restored, the body regained health. And so the multi-wave oscillator was built and developed by Georges Lakhovsky from the work of Nikola Tesla. But Lakhovsky really put a lot of time and effort, developed prototypes, and really pushed that technology forward. And they built those in Europe. Lakhovsky, being Russian, actually did a lot of his work out of France, but they built those from the 1930 to about 1939 to the onset of World War II. And those were all over Europe back in the day. And here in the States, they were so excited with those that they brought those into some New York hospitals and did trials on those and found that they got really good results with those. They got fantastic results using the multi-wave oscillator in these hospitals in New York. And unfortunately, as the story goes, Lakhovsky was invited to New York, was here a day or two, got hit by a car. The next day, his stuff is gone, and it's pretty much scratched from the record here in the States. But being that Lakhovsky was European and that a lot of his work was done overseas, the technology really didn't disappear over there. And through various different scientists and through, just the promotion of the technology, it's still being produced and it's still out there. It's something that you probably don't hear about, probably haven't heard a lot about, but the results for that were very good. It's a very easy to use technology. You just set it on either side of a chair or bed. You sit in between them, the two rings. Now, um, a modern version of that, a dual tube plasma energy version of the multi-wave oscillators, would be the plasma energy spheres, which were basically developed by Mr. Dan Winter and Patrick Bate, where they took a lot of that base information and said, okay, how can we improve this? And what they did is they built a system where those 12 frequencies can be adjusted. So you can pick any single part of the body or the entire body with a full chakra cascade, but you can pick any part of the body, and then set up a cascade of the most beneficial frequencies off that primary base frequency. So if you pick a primary base frequency for the heart, the lungs, or whatever it is, you'll get the cascade that would come off of that. And so we would refer to those as sort of golden mean frequencies. But the plasma energy spheres are also something that's very small, very affordable, very good for rejuvenation, right? Very good for rejuvenation. So it's really good for aligning the chakras in the body or the energy centers in the body, maintaining a high aura, your light field, all these different things. Uh, like I said earlier, the goal of technology is ultimately living a healthier, happier life. That's the goal of all this technology. And so it doesn't necessarily mean that you're, in a really tough spot with a real serious physical condition. It's really actually just as beneficial for a healthy person to maintain health and wellness just like you would go to a sauna, just like you go to the gym, just like you do anything else. So using these technologies and getting into these wellness centers to, and in fact, a lot of fitness clubs, even the club here in Richmond, Virginia, ACAC now is putting a lot of this technology into the fitness and the spas and the clubs, the gyms. But ultimately, once the body has kind of done its thing and it's back to what we would call homeostasis, meaning that the body has the perfect information to put itself in the perfect condition. And once that's achieved, once you've achieved homeostasis, the real goal of medbed type technology is to raise the vibrational rate so that you can get into a higher realm of potential for yourself as a human being, meaning that you can start learning to be more intuitive. You can be a more loving, harmonious person. When we get into anything that's medbed related or any technology, it's very important to understand that the most powerful frequency, the most powerful technology is 432 hertz, which is the power of the heart, which is the power of love. And although it sounds a little mushy, the heart chakra or the heart frequency is very, very, very powerful. To be in a very loving state, to be a compassionate person, raises your frequency, raises your energy. It allows you to become very good at so many things, manifestation. It allows you to be good at intuition. It allows you to get into higher states of consciousness where you can tap into things like Akashic records, where you can have access to information through collective consciousness. There's so many things, astral projection. So it's understanding that we want to get the body in order, right? And we want to do the right things, eat right, exercise, stay healthy, use these technologies not only for getting yourself back into homeostasis to a healthy part of where you're at, but ultimately to raise your energy, your frequency, and your potential as a spiritual being, which we are. We're all spiritual beings having a human experience. We're in this sort of body, if you will, for a very short period of time, but technically we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And we want to tap back into that spiritual realm that we all are a part of, that we all live in. And I think it's very, very, very important that in the time that we're in, for time, place, and circumstance, with a lot of division and a lot of craziness going on, that we become compassionate, that um, we try to basically love everybody as very hard as that can be sometimes. And the divide is on. It's the powers that be are masterful when it comes to divide and conquer. As much as it can be crazy, I do believe that there is a part of it that if you can find humor in it is somewhat humorous, not always, but somewhat, that they're very good at what they do. And you can see how, through different ways of manipulating the general public, that they're very good at dividing us. But it's up to us as spiritual beings to say, look, regardless of what your beliefs, regardless of what you say, you still are somebody's mom, you're still somebody's sister, you're still somebody's brother, you're still a part of our family, right? And as somebody in my 50s, 58, um, the divisive part of our world has gotten really crazy in the last 10 years. I mean, it's gotten really crazy. And so it's up to us as spiritual beings, as, if we associate with a religious affiliation, with, Christianity, Jesus, Muslim, whatever it is, you have to practice what you preach, right? And I'm not saying it's easy, and I'm not saying we should accept real wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that if people are being manipulated by, very, very powerful entities or very good manipulation techniques, that we understand that everybody at their time will get the knowledge and the information, and they'll be able to assimilate it, act upon it, and live it when the time is right for them, right? So even doing these videos, I understand that people are going to say, you're completely out of your tree. You're crazy. I get all that, and I totally understand that. And I'm not expecting anybody to embrace this. I would just say, do your own due diligence. Don't take anything I say for granted. Go out there and do your own research. But regardless of what you think, regardless of what you say, I love everybody. So, I don't expect everybody to embrace this information or the video. But I'm going to put the information out there for the people that are ready for it. And you'll find that, maybe you heard this message and it's 10 years down the road and a lot of stuff has come out. And it's like, God, I remember when that guy was talking about that. I thought he was crazy. And now I'm starting to see that. For me, I used to watch Star Trek and Captain Kirk had a flip phone. And, nowadays flip phones are actually outdated. So to say you have a flip phone is actually, it really dates you as actually being out of touch with reality. But I remember seeing that and all these different things that were going on. So we live in a world where anything and everything is possible, right? We're talking about med beds, we're talking about med bed technology, but medbeds and medbed technology is actually a subject to get us into much deeper realms of thought and actually get us to tune into higher dimensions within our own potential as a spiritual being. And the other thing that I would say is that when it comes to being able to do anything you want to do, or if it comes to anything with your physical or spiritual body, the number one thing that you have is you have to have a very powerful mind. Your mind is an extremely powerful tool. It's so powerful and it has to be tuned in and it has to be programmed to the frequency that's going to give you the best possible outcome for the highest blissful and compassionate and giving life, right? Our goal is to try to give back to others. Our goal is to give out information and knowledge in a time, place, circumstance where it might not always be accepted, but it's part of what's necessary for pushing humanity forward. And so with the mind, right, if we're talking about people that are messed up, and this is like for me, because I deal with this so much, if somebody's really messed up and they have in their mind that that's exactly their outcome and they've already shut down and mentally they're out of the game, they're out of the fight, I don't care what technology you have, you're really fighting an uphill battle because the mind is already shut down. The mind will basically do whatever, the body will do whatever the mind tells it to. So if the mind says, hey, we have potential already healed, already fixed, already done, not I'm going to do the no, already visually in the now that it's already happened, that it's already occurred, living in the present tense as if the future tense has already occurred. It's very important that with the mind, the outcome that you're looking for is already present and you're living as if it's already occurred. You're not reaching, stretching, hoping that that's all weak mindset. You have to go push past that. So for whatever the situation is that you're dealing with, and this is the first thing that absolutely has to happen, is the mind needs to be programmed that it's the success that you're looking for, the outcome that you're looking for has already occurred, and you have to visualize that. But not only that, you have to feel into it as if it's happened. If you think that it's happened and you're still feeling fear, stress, anxiety, you're getting what you're feeling. So it's really important from a mindset perspective to have that adjusted, and it takes time. Normally speaking, for most of us, we've been programmed the opposite, and we're kind of just going haphazardly through life and getting situations that we are actually creating ourselves. And that's done by how we project everything from our mind. So it's very important that the mind is put into the fight, right? And I don't necessarily want to say fight when I'm talking love, but this is really kind of a situation where it's you have to have a little bit of tenacity. You have to have a little bit of uh, mindful intention, but you have to be in a place where you're you're already projecting the outcomes that you're looking for, and you really have to be dialed into that. And then if you drift off, it's like, nope, it's already done. I'm already this. I'm already fixed. I'm already whatever. I'm already done. I've already achieved the outcome. And that comes from all the great masters. That comes from Bob Proctor. It comes from Napoleon Hill, who I love, Dolores Cannon, Neville Goddard, who I just absolutely like. If you know me, I'm listening to Neville Goddard every waking moment from the minute I'm going to bed, listening to him while I'm sleeping, waking up in the morning, and just getting as much information to try to make myself a better quality person to try to give the best that I can give to try to, fortitude and mental tenacity. But all these different things that, are going to max you out to give you the maximum potential that you have in this time that we're given, right? And so gratitude and finding opportunities to give back, finding opportunities to get a door for a person. You know, I was driving home the other night and the lanes were merging, right? One of the left lane was closed, everybody's moving into the right, and people started cutting in because they had to get in front of me. And the most beautiful moment was just slowing down and stopping and say, "Hey, come on in. Come on in." And everybody waved at me, right? And it felt so good. It was such a simple thing. But I'm like, you know what? It's these little things that we do with each other, getting the door for a person, right? Here in our in Richmond, and I love Virginia. It's a beautiful place. The world is a beautiful place. The heart of everybody is beautiful. But you have all shapes, sizes, colors, create everything, but everybody's getting the door. Yes, ma'am. No, yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. And it feels so good. Those little things, right? Finding a way to compliment people that you run across. Hey, beautiful dress. Hey, I like that. This, find those little moments, right? That you can just say something nice and compassionate to somebody. And you're going to find that in your life, it's going to make your life a lot better. It's all these little small things. When things are really tough, mentally, physically, be grateful for what you have. Try to get into gratitude, right? So, I know we're talking med beds. You can't really get into med beds and med bed technology if you don't focus on energy, frequency, and vibration. Energy, frequency, and vibration, mind, mindset, all these different things, and understanding that the third dimensional body can be fixed with a lot of technology, not a problem. But it's up to you to get yourself into higher states of spiritual and spiritual realm, spiritual capacity, right? So all these things are all intertwined. You really can't separate one out from the other. So we'll get into some other technology. I mean, you can see here, this is I work, this is not a drop. This is actually real technology here that exists. Look this thing up here. This is actually like a real chamber. It's a real technology that's out there right now. Um, I have a lot of amazing technology here, and the goal is to get it out to people so that they can live healthier, happier lives. So all this different technology it does something different. You have far infrared, you have plasma energy, um, but the goal is to find the technology that's close to you, find technology that you can incorporate in your daily lifestyle. Um, it's all about trying to figure out ways to live healthier, happier lives, giving back to others. If you're if you're out there and you're watching this and you want more information on med beds, there are a lot of wellness centers, which I'm going to put the links down below. And by all means, contact these places, get in there, use their technologies, learn and study, what they do and how they work. When you're dealing with like the dual tube plasma energy systems, they're both sending a whirlpool into the center. They collide, they create a scalar energy field. That energy field becomes recursive. And when it does, it taps into the frequency that the DNA runs on. And like I said earlier, it becomes a mindful and intelligent energy field, plasma energy being a mindful, intelligent plasma energy field, which gets into ancient civilizations once again, the sun. All these ancient civilizations worship the sun god, right? And and as a younger person, I would look at that and go, yeah, okay, plants made sun grow, made plants grow. I get that. But when you actually find out that the sun is a mindful and intelligent energy field, it's absolutely amazing because they're actually very intelligent. Plasma is lightning, thunder. Nikola Tesla used to love to sit and listen to thunder and lightning storms and witness those because he understood that these are intelligent, mindful energy systems, right? So I'm going to talk a few quick things that you can do that don't require any technology, and then we're going to sign off on this video. Um, but for anybody out there that's looking to sleep better, anybody that's out there that's got chronic inflammation, stiffness, soreness, arthritis, the most powerful thing that you can do is put your feet on the ground and basically connect to the earth. the most powerful thing you can do is connect to the earth. Your feet have hundreds of points on them that basically bring energy through your entire body. And the earth is a big battery, and you are a literal electrical creature. And so, in the society that we live in now, we're disconnecting from the earth, which is not good. And that is causing a lot of problems. It can start with clustering and clumping of blood. It builds up free radicals. Free radicals are cells that are basically unstable. They're missing electrons and they're used to take out bad cells. But when your body has not touched the earth and you're short on electrons, these free radicals start bouncing around inside your body and they cause inflammation. It's a silent inflammation. And that inflammation basically is a culmination of inflammation is a very serious issue. It can manifest into a whole host of different health situations. According to the World Health Organization, over 80% of the people on the planet die from some type of inflammation-based illness. And in some cases, it's been said to be even higher than that. So the number one thing that I would tell everybody out there is that if you can go outside and put your feet on the ground for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, whatever you can do, number one, you fill your body with electrons, you reduce inflammation, you start to see improvements with your blood declustering. It reduces the amount of pressure put on the heart to push clump blood through your organs, all these different things, right? And that doesn't require anything. That just requires you to put time in for you to take care of yourself, to do what you need to do to be a healthier, happier person. Yesterday, I had a lot of stuff to do. I had to go meet with medical companies and I had to travel out of town and I had to go see my mom, which I'm very lucky to still have her. Um, but I still found time to get out into nature. I was driving through some really beautiful areas and I just want to stop and listen to the birds, connect with the earth, just tune into the life that's around us, the living presence of the universe that's around us, that we're surrounded by, that's absolutely mystical, magnificent, and awe-inspiring. And we need to tune in back to that. So one of the great things about grounding is that it kind of gets you to tune in to the earth itself. It tunes into, we run on a frequency that's the same frequency as the earth, which is referred to as the Schumann resonance. And when you connect to the earth, you basically get your body into that rhythm. It restores circadian rhythm. It puts you into the rhythm of the earth. And it also, like I said, it brings all those electrons in the body. It does all those very positive things, but it also pulls negative energy out of the body. If you're getting hit with a lot of electrical energy from electrical outlets, Wi-Fi, all these different electronics, it pulls it out of you. Once it gets to a certain point, you've gotten a certain amount of it in your body, it's not healthy, right? So there's so much to be done with that, but it's good for us to ground, like mentally and physically, and just take a deep breath, think through our day, think through what we want to accomplish, assimilate that you've already accomplished that, and then basically use all the gifts that you've been given by God Himself and use those to go out and do good in the world, right? And to try to think of ways that you can do positive things, right? One of the problems with the planet is that there's service to self and service to others, right? And we're in a service to self mentality right now as a general principle, and we need to get back into service to others. So every little thing you can do, saying a compliment to somebody, getting a door for somebody, letting somebody in when traffic gets a little crazy. These are all ways that we can all unite and start harmonizing and lifting our consciousness to a higher level and giving us the reality that we need to bring med beds and to bring a lot of these technologies to the planet Earth. So with that being said, I greatly appreciate everybody watching this channel. My name is Sean. I'm the I'm the owner of the company, and I appreciate the time that you guys spend. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the feedback, and I appreciate you taking the time to watch and share this video if you like it, and subscribe and share to the channel. We showcase a lot of great information on here. We try to get people with spiritual backgrounds. We try to get the world's leading scientists, doctors. They're at the forefront of different things, stem cell research, all kinds of stuff. And then obviously we focus and have technology products and things that are on there as well. But it's really a way to educate you, give you knowledge and information to live a healthier and happier life. So with that being said, thanks for our MedBed video. Thanks for the information of contacting me and asking me to do this video. Subscribe and share, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much.